YouTube guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another great episode of Cooking with Chef, episode 2. Today we're going to be cooking chocolate chip cookies. Yes, not just chocolate chip cookies. These are actually going to be the perfect chocolate chip cookies. So stay tuned and I will continue to show you guys the steps that I take. Chocolate chip cookies have so many different variations, so many different recipes. Now I scoured the internet, making sure that you guys are not feeling left out when it comes to ingredients, because there are so many different versions. Most of them are using around the same ingredients. The only thing that they substitute in or substitute out is going to be in baking powder, using 2 eggs in the 1 egg yolk, or some of them were using 2 egg yolks in 1 egg. Or the butter, if they're using like a, they're making like a truffle butter kind of recipe, or they're using bread flour. Bread flour is gonna make more chewy chocolate chip cookies than normal, regular, all-purpose flour. So make the recipe to its true form and whole, and then start adding and substituting things. You don't wanna just right out of the bat, without knowing what it tastes like, what it's gonna do to other ingredients that are combined, just start changing things, so that's not always good. Now, I already have all the ingredients. I have my mise en place. You wanna get that already straight away and laid out. Oven is preheated to 375 degrees. 4 minutes on one side, rotate it another 4 minutes for a max of 8. If you feel like you want to cook your chocolate chip cookies longer, definitely go to 10 minutes. I will put everything down in the description, that way you guys can follow along. Now, I already have my butter softened and my eggs to room temperature. If you do not have your butter softened, you're just taking it out of the fridge right now, you can put it in the microwave for about 7 seconds each. Don't stack them. So 7 seconds each, and it should make it soft. You don't want to start the cooking process by putting hot butter. 2 sugars that I'm gonna use. It's gonna be 1 cup of brown sugar and 1 cup of granulated sugar as well. So we're gonna do that. And then today, the attachment we're using for the mixer is gonna be a paddle attachment. This paddle attachment, I would recommend, this is the best for making cookies. You don't want to be using the hook, because it's not going to be a very thick dough that you're going to need to worry about getting stuck everywhere. It's going to be an easy to work with dough, so it's easy to scrape off. And you don't want to use your whisk, because these are, you want to keep its true form and true shape. And any of you who have many of these, or the handheld ones, have seen that they bend or they break. And the reason for that is because you're using them on doughs or cooking ingredients that are a little bit too heavy, too thick for it. And so once they bend and get out of place, especially for a mixer, it doesn't mix your ingredients properly. So you want to do your best to be aware if your dough's gonna be too thick. If you have 2 of your little butter sticks, that's gonna be a cup. So it's gonna call for a cup of salted or unsalted butter. Personally, I use unsalted butter. That way I can just add in salt for flavor purposes. Now you're gonna mix this on a low speed, low setting, and you're gonna cream, get off there. You're gonna cream these together. Now everyone's gonna say that they have the perfect chocolate chip recipe, the perfect donut recipe. Honestly, it's all really gonna come down to your execution, how well you're mixing the ingredients as you go. So we're gonna put our cup of butter, soft butter, not fully melted, and we're gonna put our sugars in the mixing bowl, and we're putting on a low speed first to kind of get it mixing together, and then we're gonna turn it up as the butter and the sugars cream together. This is exactly what you want to look for right here. So I can tell that my butter's creamed in, so we can turn this up. Next, after the butter and the sugars have been creamed together, you want to add your vanilla and your eggs. You can use pure vanilla extract, or you can use the baker's imitation vanilla. I put 2 teaspoons in there, and we're gonna turn this on. So right now it's on a low speed of 1, and then we're gonna crack our egg in there, and then crack another egg in there. That's what we're looking for right there. 100%. I didn't portion out the flour, and the reason for that is I think flour, when it comes to baking and portioning, a lot of people kind of mess this up when it comes to packing in the cup of flour. I'll show you guys right now. So the flour is not really going to be able to be like super packed, right? But how you want to do this is you want to lightly kind of put it in there. And when I mean by packing it, I'm not meaning by like squishing it down. That's what you do with the brown sugar. So you want to like pack it as much as possible, letting the weight of its own self fall on it, right? It's okay to put a little bit over. Then what you want to do for true measurements, you want to get a knife like this, scrape the top every time for flour. And this is a dry ingredient, 1 cup. A lot of you guys know this, but you don't want to be using a liquid measuring cup to measure dry ingredients. So liquid to dry. And the reason for that, measurements are going to be completely off. Since this recipe calls for 3 cups of all-purpose flour, now I'm going to put my 2 cups in there, my baking powder and my baking soda. This is going to be ½ teaspoon of baking powder and then 1 teaspoon of baking soda. So I started off on 1. I'm going to allow this to mix. Again, I have 1 more cup of flour to add, but I like to add it in like once everything's kind of mixed in. I don't want to overdo it and have like a big separation of the wet ingredients and dry ingredients on top. I don't want it to stick and have to deal with scraping so much. And it's also going to call for 1 teaspoon of salt. Now, don't use iodized salt in anything when it comes to baking. The reason for that is it's not cooking, it's baking. It's going to heavily mess with your taste. You can either use kosher salt or sea salt, which is, it really just depends on you. Last cup of flour. I'm going to add my salts and allow that to get mixed in there. Fold in the dough that's already been on the sides. Double check to make sure there's like not any flour or any dry ingredients that haven't been mixed in properly. You want to make sure that that gets mixed in. Like, I need to add one last thing to make this a chocolate chip cookie recipe, and that is going to be chocolate chips. Chocolate chips already portioned out. This will be 2 cups. The bag, like you can buy like a solo bag of chocolate chips at the store, and like, you know what I mean, like the small bags. That's literally what this is. It's about 2 cups. It's like 2 cups and then like not even half, I would say like a tablespoon of chocolate chips. So we're gonna put in a little bit at a time, not dumping it all in. And what you're gonna do, you have to be very careful because right now your dough is essentially perfect. You want to turn it on the lowest setting possible. You're going to allow this to mix in. You're going to turn it off like 10 seconds. You're going to do the same thing again. You're going to turn it off. Doing it again. Putting in, you know, kind of all around. You don't want it in one spot. Turn it on for like 10 seconds or so. Again, you're just folding it in. You're not mixing anymore. And that's that. You can definitely do all this by hand. You don't need a mixer. If you don't have a mixer, don't worry. You don't need one. It just helps when it comes to creaming together your butters and sugars. The mixer makes it so much easier. This is perfect right here, dude. 100% perfect. You know, I pick it up, I can fold it. You know, you can tell by moving it around that chocolate chips have been folded in there. This looks great. See, it's not too like sticky or anything like that. If you really want the full experience, and I know this is a pain, I know you're gonna be like, I just did all this just to have to wait a little bit longer, but if you want the full experience of like true, perfect chocolate chip chewy cookies, even without having to use the bread flour to help make them more chewy, you can actually put this in the refrigerator for 48 hours to a max of 72 hours.
No, no, mm-mm, mm-mm, no, no.
Pull them out and bake them, and you will notice how much of a difference it makes. I'm not gonna roll this out. I don't need to roll this out because one, I don't have cookie cutters that I'm planning to use. I plan on just making really beautiful like regular chocolate chip cookies. What we're gonna do is we're gonna portion these out. I don't have my metal tablespoon that I would highly recommend. If you don't have a cookie scooper, that's what it looks like. If you don't have one of those, you can use a tablespoon measurement and scoop out your cookie dough. This is one that you kind of want to pack, right? It helps a lot if you have the cookie scooper because obviously it's gonna be like an ice cream scooper. It's gonna scoop it out for you. But what you're doing is you're getting a more accurate portion size when it comes to your cookie dough instead of just scooping with your fingers and not measuring. So pack the tablespoon full and you'll get like a nice little round. Cute little ball. It's got some chocolate chips in there, at least 3 or 4, and then you're just gonna roll it out and you're gonna set that on your cookie tray. Get our 13 by 9 cooking sheet. So 4 top, 3 down. So for a total of 12 cookies. We're gonna spray this off with some coconut oil. Make sure you spray it over your sink so that way you're not stepping over any sticky surfaces or oils getting on the floor because that's not fun. Pack this in there and then scrape this out and roll it. And again, this is exactly where I want it. This is exactly kind of what I'm looking for. And then what I'll do once I roll is I'll kind of put a little bit of pressure to make a little indentation so that it allows it to kind of cook out and not lean too far over to one side. So this is what it's gonna look like, evenly spaced out. I rolled it and I put a little bit of a thumb imprint, not too heavy, but not too light, to allow it to kind of set in place where the oil is gonna catch it and it's gonna stick to the pan, but also so it doesn't go one side or the other, it kind of just grows down. The oven's already on, so we're gonna go ahead and throw that in the oven. And that's gonna be at 375 for 4 minutes. Again, when it comes to baking, there are so many variables. I mean, it's just trying to think about them is like, bro, it's insane. There's just so much. You don't have to know all those just to make chocolate chip cookies from scratch. You really don't. Just knowing that, okay, as long as you're not throwing everything in at once and making it, that makes a big difference as well. You want to allow your butter and sugars to cream together for a decent amount of time, not overworking them, but allowing them to get to that texture and that color that you saw at the beginning of the video. It's very important. If you're doing this in a rush or something like that, which you shouldn't be. I mean, who's rushing the process, bro? You gotta chill with the process, and you gotta let it do its thing. Look at dude, this is an insanely long cord. I really hope this lapel mic is helping you guys hear me more, because if it's not, then I'm just gonna be like, no, I'm just kidding. I don't personally like the only chewy cookies that I like are the Chips Ahoy. I don't like eating chocolate chip cookies that are completely chewy throughout. You know, if it's soft, that's fine. And I don't like them like overdone, like crunchy. I'm not a big fan of that. Leave a like on this video, as well as dropping a sub to become a part of the community, see other great Cooking with Chef episodes. This is definitely be the second of many, many, many to come. I think this is really fun. Sky's the limit. Alrighty, moment of truth. What? These look great. So we're gonna take toothpick and you put it in the center. And it comes out dry and not wet. That's how you know. And you can already tell, you can already kind of see that it's like crispy, like perfectly brown, not crispy. It's like golden brown on the side. This is perfect. Look at this. This is the pan. There's no burnt marks. There's nothing like that's how you know it's a good cookie recipe. Consistent, cooked all the way through. That's how you know chocolate chips evenly spread around. And that is a round freaking cookie, bro. That's without a cookie scooper too. Wow. Wow. The edges are cooked because it's 375. As you bite into it, chocolate chips is not too overpowering because you get about like max 5 chocolate chips because we folded it in properly. It's perfect because you can it's not too hard, it's not too crunchy or anything like that. It's very soft in the middle. You can cook this a little longer if you try this and you decide, okay, I want to cook it a little longer. It's just a little bit too chewy for me. Again, go an extra minute. Gorgeous looking cookie. I gotta rotate these cookies. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one on Cooking with Chef. This is how to make perfect chocolate chip cookies. Let me know in the comments if this is something that you did. I want to know how your cookies turned out, if you used a cookie scooper or not, or if you just did it by your hands. Let me know. We can definitely make more if you have any recommendations. I will see you guys in the next one. Stay safe. Peace.